I'm here with Suzanne Adams. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hello, welcome you as well. We're both here.
Yeah, exactly. Can you give me a brief introduction of who you are and what you do for the college?
Whew, okay. Well, let's see. What I do for the college is I'm the director of human services. I also do instruction for the education assistant program. And I did the program development for the education assistant program and the community services program, plus some of our CE courses that we're doing as well. I don't sleep much.
No, clearly.
I've been in this field for more years than I want to count, so let's not go there. But it's a field that I've been passionate about for decades, and one that I've been very, very honored to be able to be part of in all the roles that I've done, either within schools or working with adolescents that were at risk or working with adults with developmental disabilities. So I've had quite a spread, and taken a lot of courses and professional development to keep myself as updated as I possibly can. In a nutshell, professionally, that's me.
Yeah, extension.
It's easier to tell you what I do than what I don't do, because there's not, I just.
Exactly. So what brought you into this role? Is there any pushing factors that made you want to divert into this?
There were a few factors for it as I was growing up, just being able to get to know people with disabilities, especially kids, because where I was growing up, especially during my adolescent years, there wasn't anything like segregation. It was all inclusion. So I got that introduction there to people who had Down syndrome or would have been considered having an intellectual disability. So it's something that I was used to. And then I finished my education and had a child, and my son has his needs as well. So that just kind of, I saw what was going on in schools for him in the early 80s and was not happy and knew that needed to change. And that was an involvement that I had. So it was just kind of, everything blossomed. And then I got a chance to go into private post-secondary education as an instructor, and just fell in love with that aspect of it. And being able to, I wanted to make sure that EAs were trained in the ways that were needed, knowing that every child needs their advocate, needs their champion, and how important it was that EAs were trained in the right ways. I saw where all the errors were and where all the deficiencies were. And I wanted to make sure that they had those areas filled.
Definitely.
Best way I can explain that.
So what is it about Ashton College that pushed you to join on and start teaching from there?
I had been working at other colleges, private post-secondary, in the past. And I had an opportunity with Ashton College. One of the members that were at because we have two campuses, one in Vancouver and one in Abbotsford. And the director at the time for the one in Abbotsford was somebody that I knew, and got hold of me and said, we'd like you to write us an EA program. So we got together and we talked, and it just kind of evolved from there. And now with COVID, it just all of a sudden needed to go completely online. So that's been a new experience, going from everything that's in the classroom environment, how to put that into an online environment so that it works.
So touching base on online learning and education, do you feel that you've had to change your teaching style, or was there anything that was taken out or put in that will still help the success of future students? Or
Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, what you do in a classroom environment is, you know, those types of hands-on activities that we would do. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do some of those. There's a lot more videos than there used to be. And with online, the students are on their own during the course of the week. It's only those 2 nights a week that as an instructor, I'm with the students now for 2.5 hours. So we want to make that the best 2.5 hours possible. But they do a lot of activities. There's a lot of discussions. We've got the discussion board as well. So for every chapter, I can stay in touch with them during the course of the week as they're going through in between. They've got their activities, they've got their assignments, they've got their readings, there's videos that they watch, there's videos that I create for them as well, because there's so much material. We can't possibly cover everything. So there's extra videos for some of the disabilities that aren't covered in the textbook, but are necessary. I make the videos for them so that they can go in then as they're able to, and then just watch those videos, do a little activity on it so that I know that they've watched it. So it's different.
Definitely. In regards to your teaching methods, can you run me through what a class would be like typically with you?
A little insane at times. We still like to have fun. So it's really important that I get to know my students extremely well, especially when I've only got them for those 5 hours a week that I've got them. So we try to, you know, to build that bond and get to know each other, and having the discussion boards in Schoology that we use help me to understand what they're thinking and how they feel about certain things. So in the sessions, we talk about any highlights from a chapter or an extension of a topic that they want to be able to talk about. So I'm also getting cues from them. We're learning how to do, we've got the ability to have little breakout rooms. So, you know, depending on how many students I've got, I can send, you know, a few into a breakout room to have a discussion and topic on something, and do that with a few of the other ones, and then bring them back together again, and then we can all talk. So that's kind of like a classroom setting where I can put you into little groups and go, here, you've got half an hour, do this, and then we'll all come back. They share their experiences, I share my experiences. We have some laughs. I try to make it not so serious that because when you get too serious, then it's just all about the readings of the book and that's it. So I want to make sure that I can make the information that I'm personally going to give them as relevant as I can to their lives, so that they're going to understand it more.
So touching base on what you said earlier about building a connection with your students and making sure that there is an enjoyable moment while also giving them the knowledge that they need for success.
Yeah.
Do you recall a moment while you were getting into your profession where it became either a little bit hard, or something went wrong and started using that towards teaching, or pushing your own experiences to help identify certain issues that may or may not come up in the field?
You know, it's just taking what you do in the field and then being able to translate that in. Being an EA is a very challenging field to go into. And I really have to make sure that the students understand the realities of the job, you know, and that things can go wrong and will go wrong, that you can be floating around day to day, everything going good, and you're going, this isn't so hard, this isn't bad. And then all of a sudden, you know, something's going to happen at school, or it's as simple as there's an EA absent, or, you know, so I mean, it's just, there's so many different areas that we have to talk about with the students, but we also have to challenge them as well, their thoughts, their their knowledge base, what coming to. We look at biases and stereotypes that they may have, because those have to change, you know, and that's either going to be easy or not so easy, but we get it done and they understand. You know, everything is always done with respect for the student. Students are coming from different backgrounds, different generations as well. Not all of our students are young. They're in their 40s and 50s as well. You know, so it was a different mindset. You know, I had to go through that through all these years as well, of going, I didn't know that. Okay, so now I got to change the way that I think. So it's important to make sure that the EAs can do that as well and as painlessly as possible. So we've had some good discussions so far.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Would you say that there are things that are necessary to bring to the table in regards to students? Like, what are some solid qualifications or things that they need in order to make sure that they will have success in the field?
I think for me, the biggest thing I want students to be able to have is that they need to be able to like students. They need to like kids.
Yes.
Okay. And when I say that, it's not just, I like kids when they're behaving well. I don't like kids when they're not behaving well. You got to like kids, because the issue is not the child themselves. It's the behaviors that are the issue. Behaviors are communicating and telling us that there's something going on, and whether those behaviors are appropriate or inappropriate. The child themselves is not the problem. The child's not a bad kid. The child's not a brat. There is an issue, and we've got to figure that out. So it's, you have to like kids. You have to want to see kids succeed. You need to be caring. You need to have a sense of humor in this field to get through the things that you need to get through. You need to have that sense of humor. You can't have too thin of a skin. There are some kids that EAs are going to work with that are, they're going to call you in every name in the book. You're at risk for being physically injured. I have been kicked, hit, punched, had things thrown at them. I've been slapped, and I still like my job, because once you understand what triggered that, then you know what you're doing. So you can't take these things personally. The child is doing the best they can with the tools that they have, which either are the wrong tools or they don't have any. Our job is to give them those tools.
Well, I guess maybe some of the tools would be understanding, having a sense of understanding, patience,
yeah,
and growth.
Lots of patience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Lots of patience, and I mean, we're human, so there are going to be times where we are going to get frustrated. But if we have a different perspective, we have more patience. You know, and our job in this program is to help teach you what that looks like. Yeah. And give our EAs the tools that they need so that they can give the tools to the students that are going to need it.
Definitely.
So this goes hand in hand. If we don't do our part, they can't do their part effectively.
Of course, yeah.
Right, and it's worse now with COVID-19 and schools reopening. So it's interesting.
Well, that's what is great about Ashton College, is that the online learning, right? You
yes.
get to learn from various parts of the country, between or work or having a family situation, and still being able to succeed in whatever it is that you want to succeed.
This still works. They're going to have the supports that they need to be successful online. Students have to do their part, but we also do our part. I know for my students, I give them 100% of me every day. So I'm answering emails from them during the course of the day, even in between. In sessions, I'm making sure that they're feeling supported so that they can succeed, and understanding that, yeah, there's families, they may have a part-time job or a full-time job. They've got obligations as well. And we're also dealing with the anxieties that people have with the COVID too. That's all part of this, you know. So it's just, I have to recognize that for myself, because now I work from home. I'm not going out every day. You know, I don't commute to work anymore. I'm isolating at home so much more. So I've got to understand that part of my students as well. And that's that part of really getting to know my students and how they're doing emotionally and mentally. Because if I'm understanding them, then they know what that looks like and what it feels like, and they'll be able to do that with the kids that they work with. So we have to model it.
Yeah.
And that's going to help them succeed as well.
Definitely. Finally, do you have any advice for somebody, you know, with the thoughts of wanting to join this program, wanting to join the program in Ashton College in specific, and what steps that they should do in order to get to that level?
Well, they need to, I mean, if they know anyone that's an EA, they need to talk to them, and hopefully that person has got positive things to say about being an EA. But they need to research their field. They need to look at what the needs are, where they are. I mean, I can speak more for BC than I can for the other provinces. I'm learning more and more about the other provinces because I have to make sure they've got resources available in their provinces as well for them to look at. They need to get hold of someone at Ashton and to talk to them about the program. We've got info sessions and we've got demo courses that we do. We've got another one coming up October 20th. Will be a demo, and I enjoy doing those. We've got our info sessions, we've got the demo sessions, we have lots of people to talk to. You know, if this is something that they're feeling that they want to do or get involved in, absolutely. You know, they need to start doing their research and checking it out. This is the best time to decide to do this, as schools are figuring out more and more what school is going to look like post-COVID, at, you know, in the mid-COVID and post now, because this isn't going away anytime soon. You know, EAs are going to be needed more and more and more. We're not saturating the market in Canada, and I don't think we're going to in a long time. I know in the school district that I'm part of right now, they are short 80 EAs, 80 EAs, and we're not huge. So, you know, we need EAs. We do. We need EAs. We need those individuals that are going, well, I don't know if I'm too old. I don't think I can study anymore. You're not too old, and you can do this. And at Ashton, we're ensuring that the students have got what they need in order to do this. So even though they're doing stuff on their own for the program, they're never really alone.
That sounds lovely.
And the other instructors that we have, they are awesome.
Yeah. They
are awesome. I've got 2 classes that I'm doing, and the next start in January, they'll be having another instructor because my nights are filled up, but she's awesome. And you know, she's got that same passion and that same attitude that I do. And this is what we look for in our instructors, so that we know that the students are going to be okay.